people love to chat and have a good conversation, but it could be uncomfortable for others. However, studies show striking up a conversation with a stranger could actually be good for your health. This is so interesting. Dr. Reena Mehta is here to explain why a chat with a stranger could actually be beneficial to your overall health. Dr. Mehta, good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So where did this all come from?
So there's been a lot of studies that show that actually socialization can be really good for your health. So if you think about it, if you talk to a stranger or you talk to, this person making your coffee, you can actually engage in that conversation, and it actually sends signals back to your hypothalamus pituitary axis, leads to less of a stress response because you feel happier when you engage with someone, and then overall there's less inflammation.
So in the South, in New Orleans, not a big deal. We talk to strangers. There aren't really no strangers here. We can have a conversation with anyone, anywhere, about anything, and we make some kind of connection, and you feel great about it. In other parts of the country, it's not so much the same. And you were saying they did this study in the New York area,
Yeah,
right?
so they actually they had people go into the New York City subways.
Which is already stressful and annoying.
Yes. And the experiment basically said, okay, spend 5 minutes talking to, the person standing next to you, a stranger. And what they found was people were resistant to do that, but after they did it, they felt very happy. They felt like they were more part of the community. They felt like they had a weight off their shoulders. And so it just suggests that maybe if you're more friendly, you talk to people, which really since pandemic times, it's been harder for people to socialize. So one study showed that in 2003, people spent 54 minutes a day talking to people. In a 2019 study, that number went down to 43 minutes.
Wow.
And so really it just shows we're on our smartphones. Pandemic times, we're talking less, we're engaging less. And so maybe, when you're in the waiting room at the doctor's office and, everybody's scrolling on their phones, maybe if you just put your phone down and you actually talk to some people in the waiting room, it may actually lead to a more joyful experience, and it may actually reduce your stress.
Now, every location, it may not be appropriate to strike up a conversation with a stranger, but like you mentioned, coffee shops, in line at different places, if you're shopping and maybe you and a person next to you are looking at the same or similar items. I mean, there are really, I'm also a chatty Cathy in case y'all didn't notice. I mean, really easy ways to just say simple things to someone or even just smile at someone, and that can help you and help them, right?
Yeah, so I mean, we've all grown up saying don't talk to strangers, don't talk to strangers. So use common sense, I'm not, suggesting that you talk to everyone and anything. But yes, in those kind of, public places, it may not be a bad idea to, throw forward an act of kindness. Maybe like, pay for the person's coffee behind you and just see how that makes you feel. Because a small act of kindness as such, if it has added health benefits, which it's showed that it's reduced hypertension, it's reduced strokes, it's reduced diabetes, anxiety, depression. So I mean, if those little things add up and overall you feel better and you're having less stress, then that is something to think about.
This is such an interesting study. And does the study say what made them start looking into any of this?
I mean, there's multiple studies that have shown it, but overall, we're always looking at ways to improve our mental health, right? And what aspect that has on our physical health. And so that's kind of where the idea comes from. But it also shows that, like, for some people, we both are very social and we like to talk, but for some people it's really hard.
Right.
You're worried about, okay, if I strike up this conversation, what's that person going to think about me? Are they going to judge me? And really, actually, the study showed that most people don't care about that. It's really more of the gesture. It's more of like, the act of doing it as opposed to what you actually say.
And the other thing, Dr. Mehta, you never know what a person in the coffee shop or in the grocery store is going through, and you just recognizing them and making them feel seen for 30 seconds could go a really long way.
Exactly. It goes the opposite way too. Just smiling at someone who maybe you don't know what kind of day they've had, maybe that helps them feel better about feeling more accepted, feeling like, okay, I have a purpose here, being more part of the community. So I think it can go a long way of just having this positive reinforcement.
And everyone's just feeling better all around in the community. I
Yes.
love this. This was great. Thank you so much, Dr. Mehta.
Thank you for having me.